Hello, friends. What's on my mind today? What is today? May 17th. I just wanted to probably talk about language. And yeah, it's come up a couple times in the past, maybe couple weeks, just having conversations or um, with people um, in the chats and stuff like that, comment fields of videos. And obviously it got me spiraling and thinking about like what's the origin of language, like where is the beginning. um I guess because there's uh, kind of like sometimes I always find myself trying to express myself and put into words exactly what I'm feeling, and just sometimes it's just limiting. It's just, I just can't find the right word um to express exactly how I'm feeling, like the weight of what I'm feeling, or just exactly what I'm feeling. Um, I guess I really started to notice this when I started to open up, and I guess for me everything started around, like really started uh, with my trip to Sedona, um, and the retreat last year, and the experiences that I had for me were so profound that the language or the vocabulary that I've learned over the years just wasn't like enough or correct, I guess, to express exactly what I was feeling. To Well, yeah, just to express it. Well, not even like even express doesn't feel like the right word, but if I could like transplant what was going on inside of me to you, or everybody else, I just couldn't find the right words. And I remember I found myself always using the same word, and I knew like it's just not enough, like it's not even close to what I'm feeling, and I just kept saying awesome, awesome, awesome. But I mean, if you break it down, like I was in awe a lot of what was happening or what I was experiencing, because I guess I was opening up, or I was opened, whether it's because of the environment that I was in, uh, being around so many open people, or just the physical location of Sedona, um, because that place is like magic also, or if it was just because of the fact that I myself was opening up to different experiences, or different ways to experience an experience. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that I was always at a loss for words. And then so it it stuck with me for a little bit, and then over time it kind of went away, and then recently it's come back. And so I thought, as I was spiraling down the hole again, um I thought maybe it's worthy of doing a video over and having just a little quick convo about it. And so part of me was like started to think like, well, okay, let's try to start at the beginning. Like, what is the beginning of language? And I guess this depends on how you think of how everything got started, right? Like, were we cavemen and you know grunting at each other, and then it just wasn't sufficient, so eventually, like, we found made up words or sounds or something like that. Or maybe that's what this all is just a collect a collective of sounds, or maybe collection of sounds is a better way to say it. Or we're all star seeds, and the language that we originally started off with was light language. So, Terry Renner has a light language. JJ, um, Tuta speaks. Karen Starseed, she has a light language. So I started thinking like, okay, maybe that's the origin is the light language. And depending on what star seed we are, what type of star seed or where we're from originally, that would be our light language. Um, I guess it is kind of curious because it just seems like not one light language is the same. And so I don't know, maybe it's just my limited knowledge of or exposure to light language. Maybe that's the case where a light language is specific to an individual or specific to a star seed. I don't know. I'm kind of new to this still. Um, Probably very naive about certain things, or my lack of education or knowledge is showing, and maybe some of you are like, oh, come on, guy. But yeah, so yeah, I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, maybe we all came here with a light language, and then depending on where we're from, like Sirius or the Pleiadians, or all of those type of things, like each group has their own specific language, and then that language got broken up or messed up, uh unpurified, I don't know, uh because of limitations down here. um it's kind of funny. I was thinking like, wow, what if there was like, people with speech impediments back in the day, and they kind of messed up some words, and we just learned it that way because of one person that had a speech impediment or something like that. But that's kind of silly. But I mean, maybe it happened. Maybe it's the fault of one person. I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, so that's where I started going off and started thinking like, I don't know, like maybe one group of people had a certain spoken language, and then so like maybe in the Middle East there was like a spoken language that mostly everybody used, and then in Asia there was a separate language, and then you know same as the Americas, and then it just, as people started to move around and try to learn to communicate with each other, that's how like language kind of broke off, and broke off or broke away from its origin, just for the sake of the, I don't want to say migrants, but people moving around and learning it changed. And I kind of experienced that growing up in Hawaii, where you know Hawaii's like this big melting pot where so many different cultures exist on one little island, and so everybody brought their own language, and it fractaled quickly. And what became of it was, what I knew growing up as Pidgin English, where it was like certain parts of like Portugal or China or Japan, Korea, um, all their cultures were Filipinos, Samoans, Tongans, all of these nationalities or cultures were mixing together so quickly that um, what one group knew a word to be kind of fractaled because other groups couldn't say it correctly or pick it up. And so the broken form of that became so, like, I guess, like a quick for instance is like the word brother, uh, to not maybe your actual sibling, but like dude, bro. But in Hawaii, like it just became brada instead of brother. And so I started thinking like, oh, maybe that's how language was formed, was because of the people's inability to speak the way that it was originally spoken, and which would kind of explain to me why I find language to be somewhat limiting, because it's like kind of that, right? Like it's in the essence of um so going back to Hawaii, like the word aloha means like so many different things, right? And it's because, Chinese people couldn't say like love, or I don't know, the Portuguese had a different word for it and it just didn't like jive. So like we used the word for like so many different things. Um, but yeah, I was just wondering, like, could that be like the case where light language was the original language and then it just splintered, or we kind of broke off from that because of our limitations to learn or properly speak somebody else's light language as we were like migrating throughout the world. Then I started thinking like, well, what about, you know the other people, the galactic beings, or I don't know how, I don't want to say aliens, but the people that don't live here on this earth. Like, do they even speak a language, or is everything telepathy? Like, how do they communicate to somebody else? Um, part of me was wondering, like, is telepathy universal, and all they're communicating is like feelings, like what they feel or how they feel? Are they using pictures or symbols? Like I know Gerald gets a lot of symbols, and I'm wondering if that's just the way that spirit communicates on a different level, like not with the spoken word that we are using, but through symbols. And so, like, this symbol means something specific. And so, if you put two symbols together, you just told a story, kind of thing. I thought that was like an interesting thought. I don't know how much validity to that is. Maybe it's just all like my imagination or something. But yeah, so like that's where I was kind of going with it. Um with that like little fractal was, or splinter was, our galactic people, how they communicate. Is there, or do they, maybe they just have the ability to pick up somebody else's maybe spoken language um very quickly because they're more evolved or something. I don't know. It just it just feels limiting down here, in the sense that, like, it's it's just not enough. Like, it feels like there's more to it, um, communicating and how to communicate, than what we're accustomed to, or what we've been taught. Um, so I guess maybe I should just leave it there. What are your guys' thoughts about language and maybe like where did it come from? Or was light language the spoken or the original spoken language? And it depends on what starseed you're from, is what your light language is, or maybe a light language is specific to one person. Um, or do we even use language? And I know I heard, you know, we're evolving here on Earth. We're evolving away, and maybe uh, communication will be done differently in the future. Hard to imagine, but not to say that anything is impossible. Because I do think if we stop imagining, then we stop evolving or growing because we fail to see what could be or potential. Um, and I wouldn't want to do that. I think that's kind of scary. But let me know what you think uh, down in the comments. Also, I've been thinking about this, and if you could let me know what you guys think in the comments. I was thinking about adding, putting out there some kind of service for people where if you would like, um, I don't know how to say it, like energy, like maybe an energy blessing or some quick level Reiki. Um, I was thinking about offering that, um, and I'm still like kind of like uh, in my head working out like how it would function. Right now, I was thinking like maybe for 30, like if you want to just let me know and say like, oh, I would like to be on your uh, energy gift. And it'll be for like, I don't know, I would say, I think a month would be good. And I would just, every day I would send out a blessing of energy, uh, even Reiki. I could do that for a month, and it would help me develop my skills. And then obviously it would be a blessing to you because you would be receiving something. And then with that said, then I would make it to where if you can make a donation, um, then I would make that offering to allow somebody to make anything. I mean, I was thinking honestly, I was thinking like of a dollar for a month. Um, and I think it's important. Like I was always taught, you know, by people like there needs to be an exchange. You can't just do this. Um, well, there just needs to be an exchange, right? Something for something. I have a huge problem with that, only because I just don't feel like it's a personal one. It's not that like, oh, I think people are being ripped off or anything. It's not like that. It's just it's my issue that I need to overcome with like I I struggle with accepting stuff, accepting something back. And so I think like this might be a good way um to work on that issue is if you feel inclined to exchange something, a dollar for a month of energy work or Reiki. Um, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. And then if enough people say they would be interested, then maybe I'll move forward with that. I probably will move forward with that, but I don't know. I'm putting it out there. Um, just part of my personal growth and an offering. I do like to try to help people as much as I can. And so I guess this is one way of offering of myself, and also I guess learning to know that I have value to offer, and that it's okay to accept something in return for that offering. Um, I think that's something that I probably should be working on because it might help out in other ways, like for myself and for you guys. So let me know down in the comments what you think about the discussion that we just had about language and about a potential offering of like energy work and or Reiki um, for an offering. But if you can't like afford an offering, that's okay too. Um, we can work something out. I think so. But enjoy your weekend. Um, and until the next video, see you guys.